In recent months, the Preservation Society of Fall River has celebrated a pair of achievements cementing its impact in protecting the historical look of the city. In April, the organization's Dr. Fisk House at 263 Pine Street was added to the National Park Service's National Underground Railroad Network to Freedom for its role in the emancipation of slaves prior to the Civil War.
We really did have an abolition movement here, thanks to the Quakers who really led the charge, and Dr. Fisk, who lived here, the namesake for this house, led the charge here in the city and brought runaway slaves into his own home. So that's why it's a big deal. And you'll hear about New Bedford, in Boston, in Providence, that they're doing, that they're trying to expose their abolition roots in the Underground Railroad, but you're going to see very few that have the National Park Service seal on it. We've got it here because we did our homework.
The Fisk House is now one of 700 sites across the country as part of the Network to Freedom. The house is currently being renovated with the goal of creating 7 affordable and market-rate rental units within the city's protected historic district.
We've done most of the work on the exterior thanks to the Community Preservation Committee here in Fall River. We've got several grants which cover a lot of the work, so that was a big deal. And then the interior, we actually have apartments in this house, and so each apartment that comes open, we've been rehabbing. We have a goal of making housing for people that's beautiful and respectful, because whether someone's in a low income or in a market rate housing, you know, everyone deserves some dignity. So this is a low income neighborhood. So it's, you know, we can't really do market rate very easily here. And so we're just making awesome housing for what we can.
In May, the organization collaborated with the city's Historical Commission to release Fall River's first preservation design guidelines aimed at providing assistance on how to maintain historic structures.
The city has, you know, a multitude of historic properties, whether you want to call them older homes or historic properties, either way, they're worthwhile noting. And so these design guidelines, which are available online on the city's website and on the Preservation Society's website, they're available to homeowners and contractors alike. So even if you're not in the historic district, if you just have an older home and you want to see, maybe you want to try to maintain it, or maybe you want to bring it back to its historical look, you can use these design guidelines as guidelines to go by.
The guidelines provide a path for owners to retain the historic provenance of their homes.
Well, you look mostly at the exterior envelope of a home. Windows, do you replace windows, do you repair windows? And it's not an absolute, you know, there are some times when it's okay to replace your windows, but if you replace your windows, you want to do it with windows that complement the home. And so the design guidelines go into that. It goes into roofing materials, what would be recommended. It goes into siding. Of course, you know, there's all different types of siding. And, you know, vinyl siding in general is not acceptable because 2 reasons. One, because you lose aspects of the historic nature of the home, but also there are times when you can have damage behind the vinyl siding and it's lost until it shows up in bad ways. So there's the siding. It covers really everything you can think of. Basic maintenance, windows, siding, roofing. It's very comprehensive.
Along with the restoration projects, the Preservation Society is also looking to support local historical education initiatives.
The idea of us creating a museum for the Underground Railroad, and that's ongoing. So I'd love to think it'd be a year, but it might be 2 years. But we're doing work on that right now to get that Underground Railroad exhibit up and running. We're working on a walking tour of the city's abolition movement, because there are several properties just in this neighborhood that were part of the Underground Railroad. The idea of creating or expanding historic districts in combination with the city's historic commission. So I think they're hoping to do some expansion, and we will probably be as supportive as possible with that.